Hello everyone, in this video today I will share how you can import a FBX file in Houdini and how you can apply its different shaders to its material. And in Houdini we will create a principal shader and apply different maps into its different parameters, and we will then apply that material to our imported FBX object, and then we will create a grass blade. Then we will scatter that blade onto a plane to learn about the scatter and align tool, right? And after that we will create a stone model. Then we will scatter it on the same plane to have a grass with stone like look, and we will create this project in this video. And this project will help us know the basics of the scatter and align tool and our import geometry. So let's get started with the video. So now when we have our node editor here and our view plane here, what I can do, I have it in the parameters. You can check my first video where in that video I showed the user interface, the basics of the user interface, and I have hide the parameter window for my project, because you can always like toggle the parameters by pressing P. So first we need to have a geometry container, and this is a container, and inside this let's import our FBX object. So we need a file. This is our file node, and inside this I just hit P, and inside this we need a FBX file to import, right? So we have to give this a location of where our FBX file located. So I have here. So this is my FBX file. You can just click on it, and it would now, after like giving it the location of the FBX file, you can see it is here, right? You can also see the UVs it has. So this is not aligned at the very center, right? And this is really big for our scene. So what I would give this a node, and to get to know all your nodes, you can go to all, right? And you have different types of SOPs you can create. So when you go inside, you don't need to learn about each of these. You just want to know some of these nodes, like this match size, like, right? And this, what this does, like what this do, it like matches the size of your imported object or any object to this size it created, right? So this match side as SOP is really important if you want to have really good results. So what we do with this node is we connect our file to this node, and when we hit our parameters for this node, you see this already aligned our imported object to the very center, right? But we don't need this much scale for our object. So what we can do, we can do scale to fit. So what it did, it like it put our imported object inside this box, and now it is like scaled properly. So it is not distorted or anything. So it is properly scaled to this 1 by 1 unit cube, and it is like you can also increase your target size. Like if you want to increase your target size, you can increase it or decrease it, right? And now our pivot point of this FBX object is at the very bottom, like at the very middle of this chair, and I want to like put this chair on top of this grid, right? So what I can do, I can just go to this justify y and give this minimum. So what this does is the minimum part of this object now touches our grid, and you can do maximum. So the maximum part of this now touching the grid, and minimum is right now touching the grid. So our imported object is right here. Now we need some materials for this object, and I have created this chair in Maya, and its texture I created in Substance Painter. So I exported different shaders for this chair, and now we need to create a material to assign on this, and on that material we will give its different shaders. So let's give this chair a material, and we would apply our shaders onto this chair. So what we need to create a principal shader that is the main shader in Houdini, and onto that we can apply our different maps. So we need to create that principal shader first. So we have this a network menu option here. We need to go to this mat, which is material, and I have also created a material, but we don't need to ignore this. What we can do is we can create our principal shader node, and in this principal shader you can uh, like texture and chair. You can give this a name, anything you want, and inside this shader hit P for its parameters, and we have different options to choose from. You can give this change its base color, right? But we have our image of the base color, right? So in this you can change specularity, reflection, transparency. Like specular is how shiny it would be, reflection how metallic, how it would reflect the lights and everything, transparency it would be transparent or not, everything. So in this textures menu we have our different nodes to connect our textures images, right? So we have a base color, roughness. So what I have is base color. Base color is for the basic color, how the material base color is like if like I have for this chair wooden base color. So base color is just the wooden like thing, the wooden color, right? So the base color is like the main color which would tell the this node that what it is, right? So base color I have use, you have to check this box and go to this, and I have chair textures here, base color, and accept this. When I accept this, nothing happened because we have to give this shader, like we have to assign this shader to this object, right? So I will tell you. So in go to your object, and we are at the object level, right? Inside this, uh, you have to create a material node, assign this here. It doesn't matter, you can you can connect this node after this, right? Because it's like you first imported the your FBX object, then you like change its size and change like place it at the center and then applied material. Or you can, what you can do is like cut this, and I just hold Y to cut the connection. And you can, what you can do is you can put it in between, because it doesn't matter, you have first imported your file, then give it a material, then match sizes it. So in this material, in its material parameters, you can give this which material you want to have this chair to have. Like I have textures here we have just created, right? Accept, and now you can see our base color. It's just base color. It is what tells what is the material, right? So I have already exported the texture, and I have modeled this chair in Maya and exported in FBX format with all the UVs, and I textured this chair in Substance Painter. So the base color is the wooden thing I have given, in the wooden texture I have given to this. So go to we need to like attach our different nodes to the texture because we have three more shaders remaining. So go to your material network again, and in the shader hit P textures. We have our roughness, right? I also have the roughness shader. So apply this, and it will tell you how rough the surface would be, and you can choose, like, you can change the roughness from here, like specularity roughness, but giving it a proper, like a proper shader would be good, because would have its own roughness. Like if it would act differently, like a wall have its own roughness and wood has its own roughness, right? So if you change it here, it won't look natural, so we don't need to change its value from here. And I have metalness, and I metallic is just if it would just tell this, like how metallic this chair would be. It's a wood material, so it won't be metallic, but there are some properties of that, so we need to give those properties to this chair. And we have our bump. Enable this, and normal is our bump. And what this do, like you can see, this texture is flat right now, right? So bump is like a visual representation of the depth. We created grooves, like marks. So we cannot see it here, but if we go to our render view, so first we need to create a light to see in the render view, and let's create an environment light and give this environment light a HDRI, which I have here, right? So now we have a HDRI, you can see. And if you don't want to see the HDRI in the viewport, you can just turn that off, render where it is, sorry, enable light in viewport, sorry. So right now I want to see this chair, right? Go to your render view and just hit render. And now you can see our chair has texture and also has bumps, right? So let me zoom this, and you would see, you would better know what bumps are. And render view, now see this property, that it is showing that it is has some depth, right? So go to your scene view again. So now we have successfully imported our FBX object, and we have applied all the materials to it, right? And we have put this chair at the very middle, and we have scaled down to 1 by 1, which is what we want. And now get back to our let's get back to our video. So we have exported a chair in our scene. First thing is done. Now we know how we can export a FBX object and how we can apply its different shaders, right? Now let's create that grass plane I was talking about earlier. So to create that, we need three things. To create the grass plane, grass, to scatter the grass onto the plane and have some rocks on it, so it would look like a path. We need like three things. First, we need our grass blade, what we are going to scatter on the plane, right? And second thing, we need a plane, right? We need a plane, a plane, and we need points where the grass will land, right? We need some points on the plane so we can put that blade onto those points, right? And we need our stones. And then what we would do, we would merge these together. We would merge the stones and the grass blade together. It's later, it's nothing. Forget this. So we need these things for now. So let's create our grass blade. First, let's create a line, and this line would act. I just hit the display button here and go to its parameters, length 2. We need to have a longer plane, a longer line. And what we need to do is this line would act as a spine for our plate. So what I can do now, I can give this. So it's just a geometry right now. We have 2 points and an edge, right? You can see we have I have 1 point here and 1 point here. So let's create a sweep node. And what this sweep node would do, this node would create a mesh from this line. So what you have to do is go to a ribbon, go to this ribbon option and toggle this display option. And now we can see, if you can see the edges, you just hit the smooth wire shaded, right? So now we have a ribbon and it's made up of polygons, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rectangles, and these all rectangles are connected together and we have a ribbon. So we can increase the width, max stretch, how stretch you want to have, and we want to bend this blade like this, like it's, and we don't have any supporting edge. Like if you want to bend something, like let's imagine this this is a metal sheet and we want to bend that metal sheet, right? So we need some support in between to like properly bend it or it will break, right? So like imagine this, you have your hand and we have these joints to bend our hand, right? So we need some edges right there. So to create some edges, let's points, small points, we can just like put a number here and we have our points, and these points have created an edge, right? So go to your sweep, and now I want to have this blade a grass blade like shape. So how we can create this? We can manipulate its shape by this stem, apply scale along curve. So now when you click this point and you decrease its value, you can see it's getting tapered right at the very bottom. This represents our bottom part and this represents our top part. So I want to decrease the value like this. Now it looks like a blade. Click on this part where you want to create a point, and I want to increase this part and I want to create a point here and decrease this part. Right now we have a blade like structure, but you notice one thing, and what's that? This edge is really sharp, like the line in between these and this edge, this angle is really sharp. I want to have it a bit smoother. So you can choose the interpolation by going to B spline. We have a lot of interpolations here, but we only need B spline for this and B spline for this. Now you can see it's a bit smoother, and for this also give this a B spline, and now it's also smoother, right? Okay, so now you can see it's more of a smoother grass plane, right? This is our grass blade, and now we need to bend this plane. So we will create a bend node and we will connect this, and we would bend this Okay, now we want to see its bend handles, like property handles. So we can just click this, and now we have our handles. So our capture direction is wrong. We want it to be the Y, so we can bend it on, like, on the Y direction. We would bend this, on X, but we need to have this vector on this Y, so we can have this manipulator on the this XY axis. So up vector is on Y, capture direction is on Z, this is Z. We need to have this on Y. Now you can see we have up vector here and the bend handle is on Y, right? We would bend this on YX direction. So now this is our capture direction, this is our up vector, and this is our capture length. You can see it right there. So I want to bend this on x-axis. Let's increase the bend angle. Now it's bent, right? I want to start this bend at the very bottom, so you can, like, capture origin. You can like play with this capture origin, and you can put this capture origin in between. Like you want to have the, like, bend starting from this point. You can, like, change where the bend, from where the bend would start. So I wanted to start this bend from at the very beginning, like at the very bottom, and you can increase your capture length, right? Now this looks like a blade. Okay, we are done with this, and this is our file. Like, you can also see your chair. We don't need to. So now we need a plane, right? Let's create what do we say, grid. Okay, now we have a grid, right? And let's create some scatter and align SOP. So now turn this on. Now we have some points. We created a grid first, of course, then we scattered some points on that grid with this scatter and align SOP. And when you see this, its parameters, we have point count method, minimum maximum radius, uniform scale, and maximum cone angle. So let's jump into this, and I'll tell you what are these. First, I want the coverage to be like full. I want these points to be, like, to cover this whole grid I've just created. And I want to point count method. I want to, like, scatter them by density, not by size. Like, now these are these points are scattered, like, by density. Wait, so if I increase this density scale, you see now there are a lot of points, right? And one cool thing here is, in point generation we have relax iterations. And what this does, now you would see the points are scattered through density, like they are just scattered. And when you increase this relax iterations, you see, when you zoom in, you see the distance between 2 points is, like, symmetrical. The same distance are the distance these 2 points have is the same exact distance these 2 points have, and it's creating a, like, a symmetry. It's creating a symmetry. And when you decrease this relax iterations, now the points are scattered, like, randomly. It's not a particular or, like, a fixed distance between 2 points. So this is what we need, right? And I want, let's say, coverage, we're done. Density scale, it's done. And scatter align. Let's create what do you say? Copy 2 points. And when you put this handle and this handle, now you can see they are copying to points, right? And now the scale. Okay, I will tell you one thing more. This node have its scale attribute, p scale. So if you don't want to like have your geometry scaled by like its scale is defining by this attribute which these points have, so you can just turn off this attribute. So the this attribute, like these points won't have a p scale attribute. So when you copy a geometry to these points, the geometry won't be affected by its p scale value, which we just turned off. And what I want to do is I want to do, they are like facing the same or a same direction, everyone. We don't want that. We like randomly, we don't want all, like we don't want these all to have facing the same direction. What we can do is go to orientation and you can increase the maximum angle. So now they are rotated by 360. They are not like bound to face the same direction anymore. They can rotate, like they can face any direction at the point of 360-degree. And you can increase the cone angle. So what cone angle is doing, it is like creating a cone, and now they were like this. And when you increase the cone angle, now you're increasing this angle also, so they are like this now, right? And you can increase it more, right? Just okay. So okay, now we have done. You can increase the density if you want, but what we now want is attribute deformer. They are like of the same scale now, and we don't want them. We want to have them random scales. So we can add attribute randomizer, right? Or we can add attribute randomize. And when you just we when we connected this node, what happened is now this attribute randomizer node is working on CD, which is color diffuse, and we want this attribute randomizer to work on it their scale values. So we can type p scale. So now this node is affecting its p scale value, which is scale. If we can decrease the dimensions, but it's okay, and we can increase the global scale, right? You can just decrease this and increase the global scale. And when you decrease the global scale, let's skip this, and you can distribution to exponential. So that would do that, it would create a graph like behind, and it would like the scale would be from 0 to exponentially high. And when you create this, and you can increase its global scale value, something like this. So now we have its scale going from 0 to exponentially this big. Okay, what we can do now, I want to like decrease this a bit more. This is looking good, and let's just increase the density by 50. 50 is not enough. 100. 100 is looking fine, and you can increase the size of the grid, and it would also change everything. Like it would increase the point size, and these grass blades will scatter on your edited grid. So I want to like increase its size, so you can increase the size like of this by 10. Okay, so I changed the size of the grid by 20 to 20 by 20, and what I can do is I can I can go to the scatter and align tool, and let's create a path. Let's create a path in between this. So what we can do is we can hit this density attribute, and now we can paint this. We can paint this on this grid, right? So we have all the, like, how you can increase the brush radius, drag and paint, smooth, and erase. You can erase also. So we have all the properties here. You can see, and you can increase or decrease the brush size by your middle mouse, dragging your middle mouse key. And I want to create a path in between, right? It would be a random path. You can just paint this on your grid, right? So now we have a path, and you see it already had created some attributes for you, so you don't need to change anything. Just put this, just clean this up, right? And we have our part done. And what you can do is you can have a grid inside, a mesh, like at the bottom of this. What you can do is you can copy this grid by pressing, holding Alt, and you're dragging this and delete this node, and just, if you toggle the display on, you can see the grid. Now we want to see everything. We can merge. We can create a merge SOP, and we can merge these. And when we toggle this on, we can see a grid, right? So we have, our first part is done. Like, we have successfully created a mesh our with our blade on scattered successfully, and now we need a rock, and we will also scatter the rock over this mesh. So now let's create a rock for our path. So to create a rock, let's create a sphere first, right? Go to its parameters and change it to polygon. Hit this display on, and now we have a sphere which is made up of polygons, not polygon mesh, because it would create quads. We don't need to have poles on this because poles create a pinch. And we can create a polygon sphere. We can increase the frequency to by 40, right? So we can have smooth edges when we give this a mountain SOP. Give this a mountain SOP, mountain node. Connect this node to the mountain SOP would create like this. It would create some patterns. It would give this a noise, and it would, displays the geometry to a certain level. You can increase the amplitude. We don't need to, right? And you can create, wait, complex, and you can give this World Cellular F1. This is a type of noise type. This is a type of noise this node has given to this geometry. And what this noise did, it's created it in a shape of like a rock. You can see it's looking like a rock now, right? And what you can do, you can give this a mountain node again, and it would create some more noise to this, and it decrease the amplitude. We just want these little tiny bumps in this. So now it's looking like a rock, right? And we can have a null. So what null do is, null don't do anything actually. We just need a node. We just need a node to, like, these nodes are working on this rock and this null is doing nothing. So this is just a out node we can connect to another nodes. Okay, so it's really easy when you create something complicated and you give this a null. So it would act as an out node. So you would know later that the null is the out node. It's not doing anything. It's just creating an out node. So we want this null to scatter on this grid. So what we can do, we can duplicate this grid, right? And we can, oh wait, just delete this. And what you can do is you can copy to point, like you could copy to these points, but we don't want our stone to copy to all the points the blade has been copied to, right? So we need like different points to scatter, right? So what you can do, you can create a points by this grid, right? So let's duplicate this and scatter to points, give this scatter to points so we can create our points. And in this scatter to points you can like toggle this tab and we have our points. We don't need um, that much points, and accelerations, orientations we don't need. So just scatter to points, then you can create a out node also. You can first copy to points, copy to points, copy to points, and you can copy this to this. And then when you see this, now we have our rock copied to these points we have just created. So they are have same scale. We can create attribute randomizer, attribute randomize, so we can randomize the scale, p scale, right? Now they are scaled and we can go to our scatter and align and we can rotate them by the 360 and now they are rotated. So you can increase the max random cone angle because they are like oriented in the same direction, so you can increase to give this more randomization, right? And you can also like give this a match size also to put all these stones on the grid, because right now they are like they are going through the grid. Yeah, we can see that. Yes, so we can give this match size also, match size, and we can, right, we don't need to, we can give this right here, right? And go to match size, justify y minimum. So now they are placed on the minimum, or you can increase or decrease offset. You can increase or decrease the offset. I want these to be just below the mesh, right? Now we have our objects. You can paint them like we did with the grass blade, but we don't need to. And you can merge this node to this. When you see this, you would see our stones are scattered over this plane. And yes, we can also like have this, we can also paint these stones over the grid by our paint tool, which is here, scatter and line, orientation, and we have our, where is our density, right? Wait, now it's really dense. Increase the maximum cone angle, density scale. I can give this 0.5 is enough, I guess. We have a lot of stones right now. You can decrease its density to 0.5. Right? Yes, this is better. And toggle this display option on, and we have our points. You can paint your stones. Right? I want to have these stones along this part. This part and this part over here. And this is it. And this is it. Now we have also created these two. Oops. Oops. What is this? Right, put this here. Right, so we have created our path successfully with the stones. And if you want, I will show you one thing more. You can also cut this one and copy to points your chair. It would take some time, I guess, because there are so many points, but it would be really interesting when we would see the results. We can wait because there are so many points on the grid. Wait a bit. Houdini just crashed, and because there were so many chairs in the scene. But I have created another scene like that, and you can see we have the same as we had before. And in the chair tab, I have connected the chair to the copy to points after creating some points on the grid. After creating some points on the grid, and you can see it's looking something like this when you turn this off, and you now we have this geometry. Like now all the stairs, all the chairs are scattered over the grid, right? So you can see. So I think this is it for the video, and we have covered copy to points, scatter and align, and we have successfully imported our object and textured it. And that's it for this video. I hope you understand what I showed you, and I would see you in the next video. Until then, take care.